Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. You know I love it when you drop in the shop, so thanks a lot. Guess what? We're going to continue making the drawers for the workbench. The last video about that, I framed out the drawers. Well, today I'm going to actually mount the slide. So, big step forward, let's get at it. So, I've got the drawer openings all framed out, ready to go. Now, I think the next step is to install the drawer slides. These fancy new slides. I'm faced with some issues here with these slides. First of all, just to talk about the actual installation of these drawer slides. I think these are great slides and I recommend them highly, but it takes a lot of precision, I'm thinking, to install them. Now I'm not sure because this is not a how-to channel, right? I've never ever said that it was a how-to channel. This is how I do it channel. So what I'm trying to do is install these with minimal chance of error. So you know what that means. There's going to be lots of chance for error. So I'm going to go about this the long and hard way, I'm sure. First of all, in order to install these, I think what you need to do is make sure that the drawer slides go in at right angles to the face of your cabinet, so that the face of the drawer, when it closes tight all the way around the opening. What I'm trying to say there is if the slider, just to exaggerate it, if the slider was installed at an angle like that, then when the drawer closes, say if this was the drawer front, when it closes, it would close at the top, it wouldn't be tight at the bottom, and we don't want that. We want it to be tight as we can get it all the way around. So in order to accomplish that, I think the drawer slides need to be at right angles to this front face. I don't want to put the drawer slides right on the bottom of the opening. I'd like them to be up a little bit. So I have this spacer here, it's 3/4 of an inch. So I'm thinking if I put that spacer right there, and then set my drawer slide on top of it, that would be a good way to space the drawer slides so that the drawer slides themselves would be at the same height on the drawer box. Okay, so all right, let's install this. We'll do that right now. We'll put that right here. Put the clamp on it just like so. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good, eh? Now I can set my drawer slide on that. Oh yeah, this is going to be a piece of cake, right? Oh, just one second. Is that at right angles? So, but I'm going to put that square against the upright and bring it down, put my light on it, and I see that it's not square, it tips down at the back. So it's lower at the back than it is at the front. So that would mean that when my drawer closed, it would slide in as if it's sliding down, and it would hit at the top before it hits at the bottom. And I don't want that. So we have to make some adjustments. I have a little shim here, so we're going to loosen this. I'm going to put the shim under there and mess with the shim until we get it about as level as we can, or is at right angles as we can make it. Because that's another thing. I was thinking I could put my level in there. So all right, there we go, you put the level in there. But now I can't get my head in there to see the bubble correctly. I have a little torpedo level. I can put that there, but it's hard to get your head in there, right? So I said, well, I don't have to worry about it being level because I want it to be at right angles to the front. So anyways, we put that there with the little shim stock in there, and let's see what we come up with now. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. I was pretty lucky my first try. So that means that right now, if I were to put my drawer slide on there, it's going in at right angles to the face, so the drawer should close good and tight around here. Now another thing I want to ensure is to make sure that the drawer closes tight. Now these are self-closing drawer slides. I'll just try and show you that. You pull them apart, see this green mechanism here at the end? When you slide this closed, look, watch what happens. It pulls it in tight by itself. Little springs in there. These little springs on this green part. When this slider that's going to be attached to the drawer box, when that hits this little pin, flips the pin down, see how it slides, pulls that in? So that's how they become self-closing drawers. So what I would like them to do is when it hits that spring and draws them in, I'd like it to draw the front of the drawer, draw it in tight to this, right? So that it always has pressure against the front of the cabinet. So in order to do that, what I was thinking I would do is I would place the drawer slides. Now this is the other drawer slide, and what I've done is I've taken the piece off that will attach to the drawer box. I've taken that off, so it's just the rail, the fixed rail against the cabinet. So I'm thinking if I put that just a little bit back from the surface of the drawer, then when it closes, it'll hit that and it'll draw the drawer in tight against the face. So that's what I'm going to do. In fact, this is a construction grade 2x4 I have here, so the edges are all rounded over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up so that the edge of this stationary slide is just where that round over stops. If you can, it's hard to see that from there, but that's what I'm going to do. All right, now I'm just about ready to attach this slider, I think. Again, this is all like experimental and exploratory for me, that's for sure. When I put the drawer slides on my vertical sliding cabinets over there, it was a total different experience doing that one too than this. But anyways, let's try this. I'm thinking with these drawer slides, there's not a whole pile of room for air, right? You don't want the box to be bigger at the back than at the front. You know, you want it to be square. You want it to be square with the face. You know, all these things you have to be very careful of, and that's hard for me to do. I'm thinking I had a spacer when I made the frame for the drawer. I put a spacer at the back to try to ensure that the back of the drawer front opening was the same as the front of the drawer opening. So I don't think that the box is not square or not, you know, I think it is. But when you look at these drawer slides, this is the part that's going to go on the drawer box itself, the moving part, and that just affixes solid to the drawer. There's no, that'll be just mounted on there just as solid as that, right? No room for error, no room for movement. But if you look at these drawer slides that go in the cabinet, you see there's cutouts around these mounting holes here. So those cutouts will allow it to flex somewhat, a little bit. So I'm thinking that's my only chance to accommodate air. If I put a screw in that, and if it doesn't close right, as it closes, it'll pull this part away from the side of the box and maybe be kind of self-aligning, because although they're very stiff, they are a little bit flexible. And there's two at the end here that are on kind of tabs too, so there's room for adjustment and flexibility in those. So I'm going to, when I mount these, I'm going to use these holes out here at the end of these tabs just to allow for some flex. The other thing is, what kind of screw do you use? Well, they provided some screws. They're little, they're 1/2-inch countersink Phillips head screws. Well, I don't like Phillips head screws. I don't think, I don't never have good luck with them. But I do have some 3/4-inch Robertson head screws that are tapered. I'm going to use those. And you have to be careful too that when you use these screws, if they go into the hole, does that interfere with the drawer slide? Well, in this case it doesn't, so I'm going to be good that way. Like, you couldn't use a pan head screw, I don't think, in that, because I think the pan head would stick out too far and it would interfere with the rail going back and forth. So, a lot of things to consider. The other thing too is, when I locate the drawer slide, I want to put the screw in this hole here, for example. Well, if you look, if you don't get it right in the dead center of that, then as it tightens, because it's a countersink screw, it may move the slider as it tightens in. So what you want to do is, or what I would like to do, is make sure when I mark where the screw hole is going to be, that it is in the dead center of that hole. So, lucky me, I have this centering center punch. See how the top of that is tapered? So what happens is, when that goes in the hole, it centers itself in the hole, and then when you tap it with the hammer, the center punch comes out in the center of the hole. So that should make the screw hole, pilot hole, in the center of the hole I want to mount it in. Now, with all those aids, with all this setup, it's going to be pretty hard for me to get this wrong, isn't it? Let's just see how we make out. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to set it back, like I say, just a smidgen from the front. I don't want to put that clamp on right singing tight, but I want to make sure it doesn't move on me. And then, oh, just one sec, what am I running into here? There's another thing that happens with woodworking, right? What I'd like to do is I'd like to use this front hole to put my screw in. So when I set it in place, line it all up where I want it, guess what? That hole comes right in line with this knot. So I don't know that I can put a screw in that without it moving it around a lot. So I'm going to have to go back to the second hole. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the second hole. I'm going to put my centering punch right here. Then I'm going to line it up, give it a tap. I'm going to put the first screw in it, see what happens. We ready? Okay, we don't need this clamp on here anymore. And that slides in and out okay, fine. Okay, so now, let me see if I can find the next hole. The next hole is right there. I'm gonna have to lean in front of you here to get this one. A little harder to put the screw in this because this is going into the particle board, but we should be able to get it. Okay, and now the last one way in the back. I'm going to do this one left-handed. There now. How's that for fancy? There. So I think we got that one in place. Seems good and solid. This part here is going to go in here. So that's what I want today. That's just a little bit inside the face of the drawer front. So to me, that's going to work good. When it pulls it in like that, it'll pull it in tight against the drawer. So we're going to set up this side now and do this side. Okay, I'm going to go to work and do these other two drawer slides in, get those set up, and then we'll go from there. So we're just finishing up the last one here. So that's good. They all just draw in a little bit inside the front face of the drawers, so I think it's going to work good. Nice to get those drawer slides installed. I hope they're square with the face. Man, I spent a lot of time trying to get that set up so that they'd be just right. But we're going to find out in the next episode of this exciting drawer build when I actually build the drawer boxes and install them. So thanks a lot for watching, folks. Sure appreciate it. Don't forget, thumbs up me, ring that bell, get a notice of when I'm posting videos, and leave me some comments and tell me what you think of my workbench. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Hey, we'll talk to you.